Good morning, and welcome to the Cyber Smart Morning News Update. With the always evolving world of cyber threats and defense, you need a source you can trust. FBI retired Special Agent Darren Mott guides you through today's intricate cyber landscape and brings you the latest headlines and insights and what it means to you. Let's dive into today's cyber news.
Good morning, friends. It is Thursday, March 13th, 2025. Welcome to the Cyber Smart Morning News Update. I'm your host, retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent Darren Mott. Let's get right into it on this Thursday morning. CyberNews.com, Ernestus Napri is reporting massive research into iOS apps uncovers widespread secret leaks and abysmal coding practices. Well, that's not good. Most apps on Apple's App Store seem to leak at least one hard-coded secret. Many high-sensitivity secrets were found, including keys to cloud storage, various APIs, and even payment processors. Some endpoints are left completely unprotected, putting users at risk. Apple's App Store is renowned for its walled garden approach and strict app review process. However, it doesn't evaluate the app code for hard-coded secrets. Cyber News research into more than 156,000 iOS apps, my goodness, how long did that take, has unveiled more than 815,000 hard-coded secrets, including thousands that are sensitive and could leak directly to breaches or data leaks. The average app codes exposes 5.2 secrets, and 71% of apps leak at least one secret. The majority of secrets could be disregarded as low sensitivity. However, that still leaves too many very sensitive keys exposed by app developers. So the point of all this is that don't trust your apps on your phone. Regardless of whether it's Apple or Google, there's problems across all of these areas. Now, Google is a little more risky in the sense that you can download third-party apps a lot easier out of the Google store. But this report goes to show that the Apple apps have issues too. So what that means is, and there's a list here of kind of the leaks that they have. So some of them will release your Google App ID, which really at the end of the day won't do much for you from a negative perspective, other than it'll give a bad guy, hey, here's what the ID is. And then if they could match it with a password from a data breach, then they could do some bad things to you. So it's important to keep in mind the basics here, right? Really, at the end of the day for this, the thing you should worry about is for your critical accounts, your financial accounts, your email accounts, your social media accounts, the things you don't want people to have access to, which should be many things. Make sure you have strong passwords and you have multi-factor authentication. This will pretty much resolve a lot of this issue. Now, if some of these things leak financial information, that's a whole different situation, which could cause some serious issues. But we really don't know what that looks like. This article is fairly lengthy. I'm not going to obviously read the whole thing, but it just goes to show, again, to be careful. I mean, I would actually, honestly, the best thing you can do, if you're going to take one piece of advice of this at all, I'm going to do this today because I have a lot of apps on my phone I just don't use, but are still there and could be leaking information that I put in a long time ago. So if you have apps on your phone that you don't use, that you're not using anymore, get rid of them. Delete them off your phone. And if you suddenly find you need them, then put it back on. But again, as I say, understand the threats targeting you, assess your risks. So be aware of the risks here. Your apps are leaking information. That's all I can say. Cyber News, Anton Mouse reporting FTC top scams in 2024 led to $12.5 billion in losses. Americans lost an unprecedented $12.5 billion to fraud last year, with investment scams and fake employment scams among the most damaging. The 2024 FTC report, or actually in their report, they claim they received over 2.6 million fraud reports. 1 in 3 people who reported fraud said they lost money, with the median loss of $497. Most scams started online, causing victims to lose over $3 billion. 70% of the victims said they were contacted through social media. More traditional methods for scamming people, like calls, text, or emails, caused over $1.9 billion in losses. According to the antitrust supervisor, investment scams led the highest losses, with a median loss of $9,196. In total, around $5.7 billion in losses were reported in this category. Most of the reports the FTC received were labeled as imposter scams. Over 800,000 reports led to almost $3 billion in losses. The biggest scam losses happened by bank transfer or payment. Among all payment members, people reported $2 billion in losses through a bank transfer or payment, closely followed by cryptocurrency at $1.4 billion. Now, why do I bring up this article, right? We know that this is a problem. We should know that there is fraud, right? They're just going to show that the fraud is increasing. Why is the fraud increasing? because people are not aware of what the bad fraud is. They're not aware of the threats targeting them. So this is why I do presentations. I do this at podcasts. I do all the things I do to make people aware of kind of what's going on. The investment scam thing is a huge problem. People are motivated by money, not just the bad guys looking to steal your money, but people looking to believe what the bad guys are saying because they think they will make money. If an offer seems too good to be true, assume it is. Do not say, if someone says, hey, I have this cryptocurrency investment thing. If you just put in a couple thousand, you'll double your thing, and it looks like you're doubling your amount, and blah blah blah. That stuff is not true, and I don't know how we get it through people's heads that it's not. But again, all we can do is what we do, is make people aware of the scams, pay attention to it. You know, your friends that aren't paying attention, make them aware. That's all we can do. That's all we can ask, is to do the things to make people aware. Darkreading.com, Rob Wright reporting. China-backed hackers backdoor U.S. carrier-grade Juniper MX routers. Mandiant researchers found that routers of several unnamed organizations like telcos and ISPs were hacked by UNC 3886 and contained a custom backdoor called Tiny Shell. Now, who is UNC 886? Who knows? It's probably got 7 names. I don't know them all. But anyway, a China nation-state threat group infected several organizations' Juniper network routers last year with custom backdoors. It's likely that other organizations have been compromised as well. In a blog post published on March 12th, Mandiant detailed the activity, noting that the China Nexus Cyber Espionage Advanced Persistent Threat, APT, it tracks as UNC 3886, had compromised Juniper MX routers that contained end-of-life hardware and software. Mandiant researchers said the threat actor has routinely targeted network and edge devices, which typically lack security monitoring tools like endpoint detection and response, or EDR agents. It's unclear what type of organizations were compromised, but the research suggests that ISPs and telecom carriers are at risk. So I'm guessing that UNC 3886 is either Volt Typhoon or associated with them. Juniper describes its MX series routers as carrier-grade platforms, many of which are designed for providing internet service and cloud providers. Mandiant's research noted a shift in the group's targeting as well. While UNC, this is a quote, UNC 3886 previously focused their operations on network edge devices, this activity demonstrates they're also targeting internal networking infrastructure such as ISP routers. So the point here being, China's bad. China is, regardless of whatever thing China says, hey, we're not going to hack or we're not hacking, they're doing this all day long. So this is end-of-life routers. So this goes to make the point, if you're a company and you have older equipment, you might want to get rid of it because bad guys are figuring out and finding new vulnerabilities that have not been identified before that are there that allow them access. And because they're end-of-life hardware and software, they're not being patched or updated, which allows the bad guys access and continued persistence. So again, now I can't obviously tell companies what to do and what not to do, where to spend their money, but just, again, be aware of the risk. This is going on. And if you have an older Juniper router, you may want to get rid of it and get something else. Now, Cisco has their own issues, right? Obviously, but this is what the bad guys do. So, I mean, it's constantly, I don't know how to phrase it, but it's constantly sticking and moving and trying to figure out, okay, we fix this problem over here. Now we got to go fix this problem over here. The problems are going to be there. And if your MSP is likely overwhelmed, you're probably going to need other people to be able to enhance what your MSSP is doing from a cybersecurity perspective. And I think there's a gap there that someone's going to have to fill. All right, cyberscoop.com, Tim Starks. Amid personnel turmoil at cyber agencies, a government shutdown could increase potential harm. So I'm not going to read this article. You can read it if you want, but it's misleading. And here's why. Here's why I say this, right? Let us say that let's say the government shutdown comes on Friday. My guess is, as the dumb politicians are apt to do, they will come up with some kind of short-term gap. In the meantime. But if there is a government shutdown, it's going to happen on Friday. So Saturday and Sunday, most people are off anyway. But keep in mind this. If there is a government shutdown, critical employees will still go to work. Now, they won't get paid until the shutdown's over, but they will ultimately get paid for the work that they do. Those that are non-essential will not go to work. They will go home, and they will get paid ultimately too, even though they get to go home. That's how government shutdowns work. Because I was a government employee in 2013. When the government shut down, I went to work every day because I was considered an essential employee as an FBI agent, and I did my job. So the entities within the federal government that do cybersecurity stuff, be it with CISA, be it with the FBI, pick your three-letter agency, they will continue to go to work because they will be considered and deemed as essential employees. They will still do the work that they're supposed to do. The issue with whatever happens at cyber agencies you will not see any difference at all. So this is a bullshit article that is trying to, I'm sure it's politically motivated to make it look like this is a bad thing in the cyber world. Now, am I saying it's a great thing? No, I'm not saying it's a great thing. It's a horrible thing. Stupid thing that politicians are too stupid to be able to just do what they're paid to do. But whatever, a government shutdown, regardless of whether it's 2 days, 3 days, 30 days, will not cause potential harm because the people that do the cyber protection stuff will still go to work. So, my God, I wish reporters would pay attention. BleepingComputer.com, Sergey Gatlin. CISA, Medusa ransomware hit over 300 critical infrastructure organizations. Well, that's not good. CISA says the Medusa ransomware operation has impacted over 300 organizations in critical infrastructure sectors in the U.S. until last month. So they're targeting critical national infrastructure. That is definitely not good. Quote, as of February 2025, Medusa developers and affiliates have impacted over 300 victims from a variety of critical infrastructure sectors with affected industries including medical, education, legal, insurance, technology, and manufacturing. CISA, the FBI, and the MS-ISAC warned on Wednesday. The advisory explains that to defend against Medusa ransomware attacks, defenders are advised to take the following measures. Mitigate known security vulnerabilities to ensure operating system software and firmware are patched within a reasonable time frame. Segment networks to limit lateral movement between infected devices and other devices within the organization. That means do zero trust for the most part. Filter network traffic by blocking access from unknown or untrusted origins to remote services on internal systems. Now, these are three common things you do for every ransomware actor, not just Medusa. But again, good to pay attention to the basics and do the basics. Medusa ransomware surfaced 4 years ago in January 2021, but the gang's activities only picked up 2 years later in 2023 when it launched the Medusa blog leak site to pressure victims into paying ransom using stolen data as leverage, so it extorts. Since it emerged, the gang has claimed 400 victims worldwide, gained media attention in March 2023 after it hit the Minneapolis public school district and shared a video of the stolen data. So, and they've done others, but again, these are the same things you can do for all ransomware. They're just highlighting one that's hitting critical infrastructure, which is kind of a change of pace. SCWorld.com, Sean Nichols, healthcare cybersecurity set for AI boom in 2025. 9 in 10 healthcare organizations are planning to adopt AI tools into their cybersecurity strategy by the end of the year. Good for them. A survey from the Cyber Risk Alliance Cybersecurity Buyer Intelligence Report found that healthcare cybersecurity professionals and decision makers see AI platforms as a possible way to address everything from threat intelligence to risk assessment and incident response. CRA is the parent company of SE Media, so there's a little incest here on this article. The future of healthcare is going to be tech-based and tech-implemented as AI in healthcare comes to the fore. Predictive on survey. Now, okay, this is great, fantastic that they do this, or they're trying to do something to protect themselves from cyber stuff. Whether they implement it or not is yet to be seen. I hope they do. I hope they figure out how it works, because certainly that's one way to help deal with the issue in healthcare, which is a huge issue. Lastly, CSOonline.com, John Lydon, the state of ransomware, fragmented but still potent despite takedowns. Increased law enforcement actions, improved international collaboration, and growing refusal by victims to pay extortion demands has led to a drop in ransomware payments by around a third. Total volume of ransomware payments dropped from $1.25 billion in 2023 to $811 million last year, according to a recent study by blockchain data analytics firm Chain. So it's still a lot, and there's still a lot of people getting hit, but it's good that they're at least companies are in a better position not to have to pay. In response to a tougher operating environment, attackers have shifted tactics by becoming more agile. For example, new ransomware strains have emerged from rebranded, leaked, or purchased code. Meanwhile, ransomware operations have become faster paced, with negotiations often beginning just hours instead of days after data exfiltration. They do a quick anatomy of a ransomware attack I'm not going to talk to here. Smaller, more agile ransomware groups like Lynx, Ransom Hub, which is a Lockbit subgroup, and Akira filled the void after major takedowns, collectively accounting for 54% of observed attacks, according to a study by managed detection and response firm Huntress. Now, keep in mind, once there's a takedown of a particular ransomware group. They just rebrand as something different. So let's not get too excited that, hey, Lockbit was taken down or whoever was taken down. That's kind of how that works. As always, articles are in the show notes if you want to take a look at them. Thank you so for taking the time to download and listen to the podcast. Email me, find me on LinkedIn if you have thoughts or comments. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. See you again tomorrow with more cyber news.